So this Motivity build has one advantage that a lot of others don't, and that is you can actually be pretty quick. The majority of Motivity builds are super sluggish, but incredibly strong. I feel like this is a great hybrid of both, especially with the weapon we are using, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this because you're going to do a lot of damage and be able to maneuver around the battlefield with ease, so let's get into it. I'm currently on New Game +1, but this is a very viable strategy and build for you if you are on the first playthrough. I'm going to be using the Frozen Feast with an emphasis on shock overall for the build, and we're also going to be using the Luminous Legion arm, but we're going to get into that in just a minute. I want to concentrate here on the weapon. The Frozen Feast is a weapon that you get from one of the bosses in Lies of P, and it is a very interesting weapon. It's got a motivity scaling of B and a technique scaling of C, so it could be considered a quality weapon, but with the motivity in B, that's going to help our damage out a ton, and it's going to have an attack of 350 plus 152, pulse cell charges of 16, and fable charge of 640. The damage reduction rate on this weapon is phenomenal at a flat 70, which is great for deflecting a ton of damage coming our way. Its Fable Arts Liberate is going to allow you to peel all of the stone off of the blade, making it faster to swing, and its single slash is a giant slash that cuts through the enemy horizontally, doing a ton of damage. You're going to notice as you get into combat, the blade is slowly going to chip away at the rock around it, revealing the inner blade, and you're also going to be doing about 100 more damage per swing when this is revealed. Now, the Frozen Feast is going to be attained after you defeat the champion Victor later on in the game, so if this is your first playthrough, you won't get this weapon until about 3/4 of the way through, but there are other greatswords that can take its place until you get it. I'm using the Fulminous arm because I really wanted the shock on this build. Shock does a lot of damage to a variety of enemies at this game, and once you get shock build up on an enemy, they do take more damage for you. So overall, if you can get the charge up shock blast off with this Legion arm, you're not only going to be providing yourself with a lot of damage, but also you're going to be building up a status effect, thus allowing your Frozen Feast to hit harder in the long run. With a motivity scaling of B and an advanced scaling of B as well, this is going to match up really well with our build. It's going to complement what we need it to do and how we're going to play this build overall, so it just made sense. This is one of the very first Legion arms you can get in the game, so if this is your first playthrough, you will get it pretty much within the first few hours of playing. Now, as far as our amulets go for this build, I've put together a bunch of amulets that I think synergize really well, especially with how I play, so I'm hoping that you guys agree with me, but let me know down in the comments if you guys have different amulets that you would use with this build, because I'm always down to try new things, and who knows, maybe it'll become a build. The first amulet we're doing is the Red Fox amulet. The second one we're going to have is the Conquering amulet. The third one we're going to have is the Blue Guardianship amulet, and the fourth one is going to be the Leaping amulet +1. Now, the Fox's amulet is going to increase your motivity and your technique by 3, and considering this is a motivity build, any increase to motivity is going to allow us to get more damage out of our weapon, so that is why I have this one here. The Conquering amulet is going to allow, upon perfect guard, more damage to be applied for a certain amount of time. Now, this effect is only going to last 4 or 5 seconds, but it is going to give a 27% damage boost to your next attack, which is definitely awesome considering we have to perfect guard a lot in this game. This amulet only makes sense. And for the Blue Guardianship amulet, this one is going to increase your max HP by 5%, your max stamina by 7%, and your max legion by 7% as well. This is a fantastic quality of life amulet. I've used this on the majority of my builds so far. I really like it. It gives overall great stats for any build that you're working on, so that is why it's in slot number 4, because I think it's one of the better talismans in the game. If you need to know where any of these particular talismans are, I will link the website down below where I get my information so you guys can check it out. The video would be incredibly long if I sat here and showed you every single item that I got and where I got it in the game, so I'll leave that down in the description for you. And guys, real quick, I just want to sit here and say thank you so much for watching this far into the video. If this content is helping you in any way, feel free to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notifications so you guys can know when I'm making more content. I absolutely love making these videos for you guys, so if you're finding benefit or value in the content, let me know down in the comments below. Hit that sub button, and let's get into the defense parts. Now, as far as your defense parts go in this game, it needs to be boss specific for the majority of the game. There are some overarching themes though, however, where the heavyweight frame is always going to give you your most damage reduction. Your converter is going to apply different damage resistance types to your build. Your cartridge is also going to provide special resistances and damage reduction for you. And your liner is situational based on the boss type of damage they are doing to you. If the boss has slash damage, do a liner that has extra slash damage reduction rate, and so on and so forth. For this build, I'm using currently for my defense parts the Arch Extra Heavyweight Frame, which is going to be 32.85 damage reduction rate. For my converter, I'm going to be using the Superior Insulation Converter, which is going to give me a ton of awesome resistance to different damage in this game. For my cartridge, I'm going to be using the Lada Shock cartridge, which is going to give me different damage reduction types and a little bit of physical damage reduction rate at 3.29. And for for my liner, I'm using the Belford Fiber Reinforced Liner, which is going to give me less slash damage, strike damage, and pierce damage when I'm fighting different bosses and NPCs. Now, before we get to the P organ, I do want to say you can use a Motivity crank on this weapon and crank it from B all the way up to A scaling in Motivity, so definitely do that the second you get a crank for it. Now, when it comes to the P organ, all of this is very situational based on how you like to play your Souls-likes and this particular game. For me personally, in Phase 1, I have increased pulse cells, I have link dodge, and I have add Fable slots. All of these really match the way that I personally like to play. Obviously, more Fable slots is good because you're going to get your Fable attacks faster. I definitely love the link dodge because coming from Elden Ring, I dodge a lot rather than perfect guard. And for the increased pulse cells, it's always nice to have more healing on my character. In Phase 2, I have all 4 of them unlocked. I have the rising dodge because being hit onto the ground and not being able to roll back up really quickly absolutely sucks. I also have increased pulse cells for more healing. I also have the added amulet slots because the more amulets you have, the better protected you're going to be in this game. And I have retained guard regain 1, which is going to allow me not to take as much damage when I'm guarding. Then if you go all the way up to Phase 3, I only have Enhanced Pulse Cell Recovery, giving me more healing per pulse cell. And if you go down here to Phase 4, which is the last one that I have an added number of amulet slots. Once again, having more amulets is only going to benefit you in this game. Now, before I let you guys go, I am going to go over my stats with you guys real quick, just so you can see how the build works. With Vitality, we're at 25, Vigor, we're at 20, Capacity, we're at 30, Motivity, we're at 36, and you don't need Technique or Advance for this particular build. Currently, I'm pouring a lot into Motivity just so I can get more damage out on New Game Plus. Vitality seems to be fine right at 25, Vigor is great at 20, Capacity is 30 just so I can have that lighter roll, because having a heavy roll in this game literally means you can't play it. So this is a solid stat spread so far, but if you would change anything, leave it down in the comments below. And guys, that's going to be it for the Motivity build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments. I always love talking to you guys. If you've not subscribed yet to the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. It helps my channel out a ton. We've just hit 15,000 subscribers in this year, so super excited about that. More Lies of P videos are on their way, and I've just completed 2 technique builds, so check those out in the comments down below. And until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.